It is to Madame Justice that I dedicate this concerto in honor of the holiday she seems to have taken from these parts, and in recognition of the impostor that stands in her stead. Tell me, do you know what day it is, Evie?
November the 4th.
Not anymore. Remember, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder, treason, and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. First, the overture. Yes, the strings. Listen carefully, can you hear it? Now the brass.
I can hear it. Look outside, Mummy. They're playing music. How did he do that?
Wait! Here comes the crescendo! How beautiful, is it not?
All right, Shalom. This is Harawan Banyasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Harakakwadash, Ma'amah. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. Shalom to you, Akim, and Akwatim, the children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. This is day 2 of the market crashing. Yesterday was November 19th. And as you saw in the prior clip, that was a scene from V for Vendetta. And it was what you call a poetic way of, I believe those Illuminati members of them pushing their theme for the crash. All right. All the way from the point of the treason that they claim, all the way up until the actual climax, which would be civil war in America. All right. Now, it's known that Trump put it out there that if he gets impeached, the market's going to crash. And you see, you have, I forgot her name, man, Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi or whatever, you know, and other politicians, Democrats and Republicans, they want to remove Trump. And they're saying if he doesn't get impeached, the markets will crash because of the trade tariffs that he has on China. And now the markets are fluctuating due to, you know, November 4th, the markets were supposed to crash. All right. Because they reached that wedge, that high point. All right. But on November 4th, Trump tried to make a deal with China and say, hey, we'll lower the tariffs, the taxes on goods, all right, from 30%, 20%, or 25%, if China will continue to buy up the debt and buy up the goods from America, all right, and sell goods to America, and keep its currency low compared to the dollar, all right, which will keep the dollar strong. So now that deal is no longer on the table. It's starting to slowly be diminished, all right, to where they're saying, hey, it might not go through, all right. And Trump saying to China, they're not making it a sure bet by December 12th or December 15th that the deal is going to go through, all right, for them to lower their tariffs on each other. So now, due to that, the markets are fluctuating. All right. And where are they going? They're going into a bear market, a downward slope. And this is the first move. And eventually it's going to go back up. But it created a new ceiling. All right. A new ceiling. The ceiling got lower. And now eventually it's going to do a 40% to a 70% drop. And when it does that, you're going to have sell-offs, mass sell-offs, as I spoke of in the prior videos. And it's happening right on cue. All right, December 19th, it was supposed to hit that wedge. And I was watching different trend readers and things like that. But the point is to match it all up to prophecy according to the scriptures of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, that he's going to bring this place down, all right, in front of our eyes and deliver the children of Israel. And a time of temptation, a trial period where they're going to push RFID microchip as a mark of the beast on the masses of the people. And it's going to be famine, all right, and civil war here in America, and sedition among men. So it says, when I first checked it out earlier, around 3 p.m., the market was it dropped 144 points. And I thought that was significant, you know, dealing with the 144,000. Now the video in the beginning dealing with the V for Vendetta character, you know, I saw that on a couple trend videos and it just caught my attention. So it was like, remember the 5th of November. But if you look up the 5th of November, that's when the impeachment process started. All right. And later on, they had the actual hearings about a week later, you know, a few weeks later. So they started their initial impeachment process on the 5th of November. And they started talking about treason, right? Dealing with Ukraine and Russia. You know, I want to get into that probably later. But, and Trump saying they're committing treason. All right, people like Nancy Pelosi, and Democrats or whatever. So they're going against each other according to prophecy. All right, the Lord said America was going to be in that state of Satan going against itself, a kingdom divided in these last days. All right, the nation of Babylon. It says what? Treason. Now you see in that video in the beginning, he was playing the orchestra. He said, "Can you hear it?" And she said, "Is it still November 4th?" He said, "No, it's not." See? And he says, "It's November 5th. And that's the point. He said, "Remember the treason," right? And in poetry, it wasn't the first word that he said, the gunpowder reason, the gunpowder treason. The gunpowder didn't matter. That's what ignites it. But the point would be what? The treason. All right, remember the treason that started at that point. Because when the climax happens, and he was like, "Did you hear it?" And you heard the orchestra, and she said, "I don't hear it." That's what people like, "I don't see it." And they're going to try to fix it. The next thing you know, it's going to happen suddenly out of nowhere. And people say, "I see it." They're going to see the market crashing. You get what I'm saying? Like everything will start happening. Then it's the climax, an explosion, boom. And that can be the crash. That could be civil war breaking out, impeachment, World War III, RFID chip. You know, RFID chip got to come first before World War III. But it could be the crash, man, market crash. So, you know, a silent buildup. And, you know, they put that stuff in these movies. So it says treason. It says betrayal of trust, breach of faith. All right, treason. And that's what they're accusing Trump of, treason, you know, dealing with the voting process when he got the election fraud, so-called election fraud. And then Trump is accusing the Democrats of treason, you know. So they're going back and forth. All right, it says this, man. Kohl's shares tank on earnings miss. Retailers cut fiscal 2019 earnings outlook. So Kohl's, the store Kohl's, where you buy a lot of women's clothes and merchandise, a merchandising store, their stock crashed today as well, man. All right, and you have three sectors of a market you know, and their top and their bottom sectors are crashing, and that's bad. So it says Kohl's shares tumbled more than 16% Tuesday after the retailer slashed its profit outlook for the year as quarterly earnings and sales fell from last year and missed estimates. All right, I'm gonna read this today. It's from Market Snapshot. It says Dow futures slip. See, the futures of the market, that's what's crashing. The futures, what people invest in. The futures market was created from 1987's crash, the Black Monday. They created the futures market where you can invest in the future of a certain stock in the hopes of it. And now they're losing. That's all America's built on, the hope and faith. And that the true market already crashed. But the only thing that's keeping America propped up is the futures market. And that market is crashing now. They're losing faith in it. So when it drops below 40%, then they're going to start dumping dollars, start doing mass sell-offs of different stocks. All right, crashing the economy. All right. And then that's when you're going to have a recession, when they start dumping dollars. It says Dow futures slip as Trump threatens to raise tariffs if China trade talks languish. So he's saying it's languishing. So he said he's going to raise the tariffs, raise the taxes even higher than 25 to 30%. And that can cause China to just boost their currency to gold, and that'll completely diminish the dollar. They can do anything right now, man. So it says U.S. stock index futures headed modestly lower Wednesday morning as doubts persisted about progress on a U.S.-China trade deal and weakness in corporate earnings this week offered few reasons for investors to bid stocks higher after a new highs were hit this week. See, everybody was excited because the stock market jumped up 200 points and then it was going to new highs. That's what they were saying. But that doesn't matter. What matters is what's happening with the S&P, right? And the futures market, what's really happening with the stocks, and they're crashing. You know, department stores, Home Depot, Disney. That's why you got Disney putting out Disney Plus, and then all of a sudden your shit getting hacked, and you got a new extra account just to keep their market up, man. This shit about to get bad, man. So it says what? Wall Street also awaiting minutes from the Federal Reserve's October meeting. So yep, because the Federal Reserve Chairman Powell, I think he went out there to DC to meet up with the president today, and they had a private meeting. You know, and one reporter was like, he wish he could have been a fly on the wall, you know, to hear what they was talking about in there. Wall Street also awaiting minutes from the Federal Reserve's October meeting to glean further insights about its monetary policy, though Chairman Jerome Powell last week outlined his thoughts about the economy in congressional testimony. All right. So everything crashing, man. They're going to try to save it, but you can't. It has to happen. They're doing away with the American economy. All right. And it can happen right before, you know, everybody celebrate their wicked holidays, their Thanksgivings, their Christmas, Black Fridays, and the market crash. That's what it is. All right, this is Psalms 91:1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. All right, and shadow represents what? Protection or covering. All right, and the secret place is what? The scriptures. All right, and also the scriptures say the name of Yahweh is a strong tower, and the righteous runneth into it and are safe. I will say of Yahweh, he is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in him will I trust. And that's what you should be doing in these times. All right, before the evil days come nigh. All right, turn to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, pray and repent and do the work. All right, and learn about him. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler. And who's the fowler? Esau. And that's the trap that they have set. All right, on whatever side, this whole Democrat, Republican mess, that's all a plot in a theater, an act of the Illuminati. All right. So for them to bring about their new world order. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler. All right, the trap that's being set for the children of Israel ultimately. And from the noisome pestilence. All right, he shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. All right, his feathers represent what? The angels, and his wings the chariots. And we're going to trust in his chariots because later on in the verse it says he's going to give his angels charge over us to protect us in these times, right? And you see, when the famine comes, when the market crashes and all hell breaks loose, the Lord said he's going to protect his hopeful elect, or his elect. All right? But we may be persecuted, we may go through some trials, but ultimately, the Lord's going to be with you. It says what? He shall cover thee, see? He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. So in these times that's coming, you're going to trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. All right, the truth, not the deception. The people that believed in the lies and that were deceived up to this point, all right, they're going to be running around blind in these times. But the truth is going to be your faith in that day. The truth about Yahushua, all right, and Yahweh. And that is judgment upon the wicked. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. All right, so, you know, so what's that? You have the civil war breaking out, sedition among men. You have the martial law. And you have ultimately the pushing the chip, you know, and ultimately the missiles, man, when they shoot missiles on this place. So it says, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. All right, and that's your famines, your civil wars. All right, people invading one another, martial law, and the destruction that wasteth at noonday. At the climax of all of that, it's going to be World War III. All right, it says what? 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. So when the market crashes, we shouldn't worry about that. You know, we should be praising Yahweh Bashim Yahushua for bringing his prophecies to pass. All right. It says, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh to thee. So when you're getting delivered up into them chariots, destruction, you'll see thousands of people perishing, but nothing harming you, man. All right. It says, the slain of the Lord shall be many. It says, only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because thou hast made Yahweh, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. It says, therefore shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling, for he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. All right, they shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. So we come into those times, man. So when we see the market crashing, that's the times, perfect environment for the Lord to give spiritual power to his elect. So that's a beautiful thing, man. That's why he said that. He said, it says this, Job 5:17. Behold, happy is the man whom Yahweh correcteth, right? Therefore, despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty. And we're being chastened and corrected and purified as gold, all right? For he maketh sore and bindeth up. He woundeth and his hands make whole. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles. Yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee, man. So we coming up to the point of that at that 7th trump. All right, going into that last trump. 6 troubles, man. He's gonna deliver us. So in the midst of Jacob's trouble, the Lord gonna deliver the hopeful elect. In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue. So these things have to happen for the Lord to show his power. All right, he's gonna let all these things kick off on the earth, but he's gonna protect you in the midst of that. You know, thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of destruction when it cometh. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. All right, one of my favorite scriptures, man. You know, Romans 3:3. For what if some did not believe? All right, because a lot of people don't believe that this is going to happen. They don't want it to happen. You know, they want to keep going on in this place. But yeah, man, it has to happen. You can't stop the inevitable. All right. You see, they said, remember the 5th of November. And that's when the impeachment process started. That's going to be very important when everything really kicks off. And you look back on these months, these past weeks, and you remember all the stuff that kicked off in the beginning of November. The trade deals, the impeachment process, the market crashing, all right? You know, the trade war, the tariff war. All right, so it says this, shall their unbelief make the faith of Yahweh without effect? God forbid. Yea, let Yahweh be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, that thou mightest be justified in thy sayings and mightest overcome when thou art judged. This is Ezekiel 2:5. And they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. For they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there have been a prophet among them. And thou, son of man, be not afraid of them. All right, so, and that's what we do, the brothers that teach this truth. We are here warning the people, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. All right, because that's what the Lord told us to do. All right, someday they're going to know that there were prophets among them. Okay. Neither be afraid of their words, though briars and thorns be with thee, and thou doest dwell among scorpions. Be not afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. All right, so that's our job, to speak this word and to warn our people, man. So with that, I'm gonna end it there, because it's perilous times coming, man. So hunker down and study, pray, fast if you need to, and some brothers need to get some rest and get close to the Lord, man. Because it's time to hunker down, because it's about to kick off. All right. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.